Call to order.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving into the agenda item, Dr. Fox, is there any changes or additions to the agenda?
No, sir, there are not.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Reader.
Yes.
Yes. We move into closed session certification. I have a motion to certify closed session.
Make a motion to certify personnel matters discussed in closed session, section 2.2-371131.
I have a motion and second by Mr. Painter.
Yes. Mr. Reader.
Yes.
Mr. Langston.
Yes.
Yes. Move into citizen comment. Okay. And the Page County School Board wishes and welcomes citizen comment during the regular meetings. School board members do not respond to public comment during a meeting. All comment should be addressed to the matter related to Page County Public Schools. The school board will not hear public comment involved in individual student-related matters, the disclosure of which would violate acceptable confidentiality requirements. The school board expects that each speaker will be courteous, modeling for our students how one can respectively agree or disagree with others' views. Speakers will address their comments to the entire school board and not to one individual board member, nor to the superintendent, a staff member, or the audience. Speakers will have 3 minutes to present their comments from the podium. Our first speaker, Mrs. Lawson. Please state your name and your address.
It's Pam Lawson, 2656 Greenberg Road, Shenandoah, Virginia.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Did you get it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I'm actually wanting to speak on two different topics tonight. The first topic is last school board meeting. It was brought up not to have the public comments, to not read them out loud. I understand that public speaking is a fun because I don't like it either, but I pushed myself to be here to do so. When I talked to you all through the summer, some have emailed, some have spoke on the phone, expressed that you wanted the parents to be involved and engaged, and I've tried to help get parents involved and engaged. Some parents work second shift, and some people work out of the county and cannot get here before we start. So I personally am volunteering to come and read all the comments out loud, so no person has to do it. I'll do it if it can be read out loud. It is important, especially now, that we have parents involved. We have a governor that's running who thinks we shouldn't have a voice in our kids' education. We have an attorney general who wants to classify as of domestic terrorists. The other topic I want to bring up tonight is the incident that happened at Page County High School last week about a teacher and the pledge. I'm not here to make a statement on that. What I'm here to ask, I'm not saying whether what was done was right or wrong, or recording was right or wrong. I'm here as a concerned parent to ask if the disruption and distraction, it did cause a lot of disruption and distraction. My daughter called me the day after the video was posted in school. There were students on both sides protesting down the hallway in the school. Currently, right now, this video has 890 comments, 359 shares, 10,800 views for Page County. So there's also been threats made to students, harm to students, which is unacceptable. So I don't know if we have a policy like other schools for students and teachers. Most of them say either stand or sit. If you don't want to say it, fine, just don't be disruptive. Sometimes our actions have unintended consequences, and I believe this is one of them. We truly need to be focusing on the lost year and a half due to COVID for our kids. We need to stop the zero grading policy, hold teachers and the kids to a higher standard, stop lowering the bar just to pass students. We should be empowering, encouraging, teaching, rewarding, mentoring, and having students strive for excellence. We should also hold ourselves and the students accountable. We should be making sure these students have every tool they need to be productive adults and live the best life that they can live. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Toby I'm sorry, I'm going to mess up this name. Toby Longenecker? Toby. I'm trying to get it right.
I wasn't sure I'd be able to see over the podium. Toby Longenecker. I'd prefer not to give my address after the experience I had last time I spoke. If that's all right, I can write it down. I did on the paper out there, but rather not broadcast. Board members, Dr. Fox. I'm here again today to discuss board meetings in terms of accessibility, consistency, and transparency. First, I don't know how school board meetings were handled pre-COVID. Honestly, I hadn't had any issues that directly affected myself or my children, so I never took part and didn't get involved, which was ignorant on my part. So I can't imagine that I wouldn't have imagined there'd been any topics that have been as divisive as been last year. Now that I'm more involved and I'm trying to stay more aware, I'm very much appreciative of the meetings being live streamed. I've been able to watch the meetings when I've been out of town, when my kids have had extracurricular activities, ill, quarantine, what have you. Having that accessibility has been great. I actually ran over here leaving my kids soccer. Well, it's not really soccer, he's 5. I don't know what they do, but anyways, just so I can make sure I spoke. So I did submit my comment online just in case I didn't get here. That being said, public comments not only let the board hear the community's voice, but it also allows the community to hear an alternative to what they may have been thinking, or allows the community to become aware of an issue that may not have been aware of previously. At the last meeting, Dr. Painter brought up the policy for public comment, not mentioning reading online comments, and she wasn't comfortable reading them until or unless the policy was revised. I totally respect following the policy, so I'm hoping the board will reevaluate that policy, specifically Section 7, Section K, Code KD, public participation at school board meetings. 2, possibly 3 meetings ago, it was suggested, also by Dr. Painter, I think, but I'm not completely sure, that there be a word limit. I'm not trying to call you out.
You're fine.
Just trying to remember. That there would be a word limit that was similar to the 3-minute limit imposed by Mr. Breeden. You enforced that several times when reading previous comments, and you also enforced that on board docs with the minutes that have been approved in the past, including the ones that are up for approval today. August 26th was the first example of that. Accessibility to the meetings is great, but it would be more efficient if that extended to online comments being read aloud as well. We, the public, do not have those minutes available to us until the next board meeting's agenda has been posted. I believe there needs to be some consistency in how public comments are handled and possibly a policy stating as such, because after reading the policy today, it seems that more clarification is needed. For example, the policy says anyone can address the board as long as they have requested so from the chair, the board, or the designee, which I'm assuming is the sign-up sheet, I believe. But there's nothing on there that says you have to be here by a certain time or however many hours in advance. All other specifications are up to the chair about appropriateness and length. I've also been unable to find anything written to what those rules are. Mr. Breeden, you do say at the beginning that we have 3 minutes, must be relevant, and it needs to be appropriate. But that doesn't help with transparency or consistency. Got my timer? Okay. Can I say one more thing? It also says in the policy that you can't speak again until everyone else has had a chance. And since no one else is here, I would like to request another chance. It says it on the policy.
Okay,
Is that okay?
you have another 3 minutes? Just the two.
Is that all right? Let's see. The policy also says that no one may make additional presentation until anyone else has had an opportunity. Additionally, we've been told that the board members are not allowed to respond to our comments during citizen comment, but the policy does in fact say that board members may request more information from a speaker with the chair's permission. It seems that depending on the meeting or the topic, in some instances, the board and the chair are elected to take a strict interpretation of the policy and other times a loose interpretation. I think the best way to ensure consistency and transparency would be to have a specific set of rules and guidelines that spells the procedure out. All that is to say, I truly appreciate each and every one of you that puts the time and energy into bettering our school system in different ways. I don't envy the public backlash you deal with, especially when you do take a position and don't sit on the fence, regardless of if you're on the same side of the fence as me. So please just know that you two are appreciated and don't deserve to be attacked either.
Thank you. Mrs. Lawson, did you have anything else that you wanted to address the board with? Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Toby, you want to go again? Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Want to remind the board members to review the September 2021 minutes for approval at the next meeting. Move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is consisting only of the personnel action that we discussed in closed session?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda. Personnel action that include appointments, resignations, retirements, and terminations.
I have a motion and a second. The second is done by Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Move into the informational items. Monthly financial report from Ms. Sechrist.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. You all have been provided with the monthly financials for September, where expenditures and revenue were $3,063,017.37. Along with that report, you were given the local match calculation that we did balance with the treasurer's office. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Are you only referring to the local match calculation for question?
No, sir.
You're also referring to the check register?
No, sir. I'm referring to the monthly financial report for September.
We're under information.
8 will be check register.
Okay, I don't have.
It's on board docs.
Yes, the local match. Okay, I have it. Thank you. No question. Okay, on with the next informational item. Thank you, Ms. Seeker.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
With the next informational item and superintendent's update, Dr. Fox.
Yes, good evening, Board, and Mr. Chairman. I have a short update for you this evening. The first piece of information is with regard to the Page County Educational Association. And the president, Ms. Bailey, is here tonight. I'm going to ask her to stand up for a moment. But we are happy to report that Ms. Bailey, who is the president of the PCEA, go ahead and stand up, and Luray Elementary librarian, Ms. Julie Painter, have been awarded a National Education Association Student Success Grant in the amount of $2,000. And we're excited that they're going to be offering some book clubs to promote reading and making connections to the community where our students live. And some of that money will be used to pay for the books, student journals, some storyboarding software, and it'll cover a stipend for those teachers and staff who are going to assist with that program. So congratulations to you and thank you for submitting the grant on our behalf. You can stay standing because the PCEA was also awarded a Virginia Education Association's Top Grant Award. This grant will be used to provide professional development opportunities for teachers and instructional aides in Page County. They're going to award 5 $200 scholarship awards this year that will allow staff members to apply and participate in various professional development opportunities that are related to their classroom, work in the classroom. They're then going to share what they've learned in those professional development sessions with other teachers and staff. And ultimately, they will demonstrate how this will help improve practice. So we just wanted to congratulate the PCEA, you, Ms. Bailey, Ms. Painter, and just say thank you for your efforts to bring more books to our kids and more opportunities for our teachers. So thank you for your work. Secondly, tonight, we just wanted to take a moment to thank Mr. Kale, Mr. Simmons, board members, the faculty and the staff at Page County High School and our community for the wonderful dedication ceremony that happened on Friday night in honor of Mr. Buddy Comer. And we also wanted to take a moment to thank Dr. Billy Hahn, who is the VHSL Executive Director. He was also present on Friday night for that ceremony. It was a very nice evening and a nice tribute to Mr. Comer, who I'm sad I did not get the chance to meet. But I look forward to engaging with his family in the future, and we're just excited to have the stadium named after him. So thank you to everybody for that work. I wanted to give you a health update because we're not out of the woods yet. We are certainly starting to look a little bit better. We're not going to be super optimistic because we don't want to jinx ourselves, but we are starting to see some trends that now are going down instead of up. So in terms of our level of community transmission, we still remain in the high category, but we have moved down from 18.8% for positivity to 13.7%. And our case rate has moved from 719 to 472 as a community. Vaccines, we're seeing those are remaining steady at each group. They're a little bit of a percentage increase in each of those groups. And we do want to share that at the end of October and early November, it is anticipated that there will be approval of the Pfizer vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. And we're in discussions with the local health department to potentially offer vaccine clinics at schools. So once we get more information on that, we'll share that with you all and with our students and families. Right now, the impact on the school is in all of our schools is in the low range for transmission within the schools and for staff capacity. And it's in the low to medium range for student absenteeism. We still are seeing students being quarantined. We still are seeing positive cases in both staff and students, but not at the levels that we were seeing previously. At the next board meeting, at the request of a board member, we will be providing you all with an attendance report and we'll give you updated enrollment data. I do want to share that Ms. Sechrist talked with Kent Dickey, who is the Virginia Department of Ed Assistant Superintendent for Finance. And there is a provision in the 2-year biennial budget that we are held harmless for any enrollment losses that we may suffer due to COVID. And there is a little asterisk, as there is with everything with COVID, that is dependent on any updates that the governor might make to the December budget. He could potentially make a change that would impact that. So we will know for certain come December, once his new budget comes out, that there are no changes to that. But in a sense, that holds us okay in terms of our budget for any enrollment losses that we may have suffered due to COVID-19. So So that's a little bit of good news for us. We are continuing to work through all of the details for the VISTA COVID-19 testing program with the VDH and the VDOE. We're hoping to launch that in the next couple of weeks. There is a lot that goes into that to make that happen. We are continuing to implement all of our mitigation strategies in our schools and our offices. And in a conversation with the Lord Fairfax Health Department and Valley Health recently, they are recommending that anyone who can get the flu shot this season, just as another precautionary level to protect yourselves. They are anticipating a rather rough flu season. And I would just like to publicly say thank you for the support and assistance that we've been provided by the Lord Fairfax Health Department and Valley Health. Dr. Green, Dr. Fate, Dr. Schweitzer, and Mr. Brad Kearns have been unbelievably responsive to our questions and providing us with information. So we just wanted to make sure they're aware that we appreciate their partnership in all of this. And lastly, tonight, I just wanted to address, we did send out a letter last night, was shared electronically with all of our faculty, staff, and our families regarding current social media challenges, as they're known, and the potential for the consequences either at school or potentially with police. Some of those challenges are very risky in terms of what students are being asked to do. We're asking parents and guardians as our partners in their child's education to talk with their children about these potential consequences and the long-term effects of those consequences, not only on their academic careers, but potentially on having a criminal record attached to them. Schools are having age-appropriate conversations and discussions about choices and consequences with students, as well as some positive messaging and encouragement to students who are following the rules and who are making good decisions. The vast majority of our students do that on a daily basis, so we need to honor and recognize that. We are developing a social media and internet safety program for parents and guardians that we will push out information about relatively soon. And we just want to share information with them about the various social media platforms and how to keep their children safe online. So when we have that information ready to publish and share, we'll push that out to everybody. And that's all I have this evening, unless there are any questions that you all need answered. I'm going to attendance report in terms of how many students have been absent this school year, and I'll give you an updated enrollment count. Is that what you're referencing?
That's what I'm referencing.
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of the COVID, the levels, and I can continue to provide that information. I just thought maybe you guys were growing weary of that, so I tried to streamline it a bit, but I'm happy to okay.
I'm with Wayne. I like the percentages.
Okay, then I'll bring all of that back for you at the next meeting. And I can send you an update. When I send you my update this week, I'll include those pieces for you.
Perfect. We're figuring this thing out.
Yeah.
You guys have done a great
Yeah.
job. Both of you. We had a curveball.
Any other questions? Okay. Move on to the next information item. It's HVAC update. Dr. Fox?
Yeah, so if I could, Mr. Williams, would you mind just coming to the podium in case there are questions that I have no expertise on because I don't do HVAC? But I just wanted to give you guys a quick update this evening. This is just a verbal update for you. We are excited, and I shared this with you all, that our ESSER 3 grant was approved by the Virginia Department of Education. So we can now begin spending those funds. We've been allocated about 80% of our total funds, so we can start now using those funds. So one of the first projects that we're going to start on is our HVAC work, and we've been sharing information with you all about this all along. We have roughly allocated about $4 million of our funding towards this project. Right now, the quote is at about $3.6 million for the work. We decided to put in a little bit extra just because it's a long-term project and we don't know what cost increases or what things they might find as they begin the work. So we've allocated that money. If we don't use it for HVAC, we can reallocate it in the grant to other things. We are also applying for the coronavirus state and local recovery funds to support HVAC replacement and improvement projects. That's a mouthful. That grant application is due on November 15th, and we will be eligible then for $628,000. That grant application does require a local match, but we can use ESSER funding for that. So what we'll do is apply for that $600,000 when we get it, which we're certain we will. We will then take $600,000 from our ESSER funding as our local match. We'll redo our ESSER grant, resubmit that, get that approved so all of that funding lines up. Due to the costs of this project, we also have to submit to the Department of Education an ESSER fund prior application request for construction projects, land acquisition, and building acquisitions. That's in process. We've had to get some information from various people, but we anticipate that being submitted in the next couple of days, and they turn that around pretty quickly, and then the work can begin once that's approved. We have selected Johnson Controls to do this work, and there's a number of reasons why we did that. One, they are in our schools already, so we would have consistent systems across buildings. They are going to upgrade our systems where we can have some electronic remote control over things, so Mr. Williams would have access to systems and checks on his phone. And they also were the one group that will do all of the work for us. Other companies submitted, but they would only do pieces of the project, not the project in total. So we are on a contract writer with that, so we're going to move forward with Johnson Controls. And then Mr. Williams is going to work and communicate with principals. Once we begin this work, and other division staff at each building, we need to be mindful of, what's going on in our schools instructionally with students, being mindful of their safety, staff safety, and any of the other school needs. So he'll be tasked with communicating with principals as that work begins, so that they're aware and he's aware in terms of scheduling with Johnson Controls for that work to happen. Mr. Williams, would you like to add anything?
That pretty much covered it. And just for the record, except for one, and it was really pretty close, Johnson was the cheapest of everybody along with the DFTs. Johnson's there now. We're tied to him for, I believe, another 11 years. We're working, it's 11 years. 5th year now. We've done 4 years for the previous contract. We have some other stuff that's in the building. It's not Johnson. Sometimes it's a little iffy, but that's, that, in my opinion, that was the best way. Discussed and agreed. The rate sets up. I don't have a lot of it to add everything. It's going to be a lot of disturbance from time to time. That's just the thing to do. As far as remodeling, replacing, whatever. Yes, sir, we are. We replace basically everything's going to be replaced that has anything to do with HVAC or PD, from Springfield Elementary, Big Ray Elementary, Stanley Elementary, Shenandoah, Page Middle Auditorium, and the gas furnace in Gray Hills Gym. It exhausts, an auxiliary room. Quite a pile of work to be done. And that's not including window units. That's, any of the split systems, any of the rooftop, through the wall units. Give them all, if it heats pools, it should be changed.
So you said Luray Elementary, and I know that one quite well, and so does Dr. Painter, and especially now that some of them don't even work. And I know some classrooms, Ms. Williams, don't even get heated well enough at times because of how the system works. So all of that's going to be fixed underneath?
That's correct.
Okay.
Air conditioning's more a problem than heat. Most of the time we've got heat in this place, but air conditioning is really good.
Yeah, the 5th grade wing there is a problem, has been a problem in the past. The 5th grade wing?
Correct. Yeah, that goes back, I believe, somewhere around 92. So it's well outlived its life expectancy. Most of the heat is pretty good there, but air conditioning is not. They all got one unit, and we have to change all of those. Yes, we will, in a lot of places. But this is like, say, just replacing all the rooftop units through the wall, the units that you're asking about. Springfield has the same thing. Shenandoah has them. Stanley does not have them. They've got different units.
Will any of the gyms be adding air conditioning?
They're not.
Okay, so it's no add, it's just fix what we have.
Yes, sir. We, when we first got into it, they got the price in that, and it's got astronomical. In the gym, no, sure it will not. Gas heat, it's LP gas heat in Springfield, Luray Elementary, and Grayfield. Shenandoah's got hot water boiler in there, hot boiler for heat. And Stanley does have air. It's got a rooftop place. 4 or 5 years ago, whenever they done the performance contract. But that does have the air conditioning.
So is that just the plans for the 4 million ESSER 3 funds, or will it
Yes,
include that CSL blah, blah, blah?
No, that's not to do with the CIP.
So what's
That's-
the plan for that over $500,000?
No, that's, we're gonna use 6 million of the 4 that's already allocated as our local match
Okay.
for the 6. So what we'll do is, I think we'll have to see where costs go in terms, because we have an extra couple $100,000 in there already for
So it's
extra.
depending on how that goes,
Yeah.
what you'll use that for.
Yeah. We'll use all of the money in the ESSER for HVAC, and then whatever's left, if we can do additional HVAC, we might, or we'll reallocate that money in the grant to other projects.
So what are you gonna write that next grant for? The full amount?
Yeah.
Please tell me you're not the one writing all these.
No, we have lots of people who help. Everybody
Okay.
puts the work in to get these grants written and to do the legwork. Because there's questions especially on the application for the construction. I can't even answer those. Those have to go to Mr. Williams, and he reaches out to the vendor if needed, or he and Mr. Bell provide me with the answers that we need for it. So it's a team effort.
Okay.
Yeah, Ms. Seacrest helps us with all the money side of it.
Any other questions about the HVAC for Mr. Williams or Dr. Fox?
How would that? Fresh air.
It will be better than it is. That's for sure. All those units too, are the ones that we can, we're upgrading to heat pumps. Talk about some days it was 4 days in the fall or 4 days in spring, and the boiler's not going to take over. Be a little more efficient for us.
Something definitely encouraged. I was talking about all of it. I know when I first started, my first week, they presented it. They had a lot of bars. CST. 2001. They made something.
Nothing was ever posted on board docs.
I think the school system also should look at those gyms that are not receiving any AC that get used a lot, like Luray Elementary, and I know Shenandoah Elementary gets used a lot.
It was like a father.
Sure was.
Yeah, so I think that needs to be looked at if they're being used not only by the school system but by the community who has invested in the schools. And I think it will help get more activities into the buildings if they're not in there in 110 degrees, as I have been told. So I think if we have any money, maybe somehow to lessen that in some of the summer months when it's so hot and there's activities in those buildings, in those gyms. Just a suggestion. Anything else from the board? We'll move on to the next item. There are action items. The first action item is claim for payment. Ms. Sechrist?
Good evening again, board. You all have been provided with the claims certification where the operating fund is $214,188.15. Food service, $24,605.81 for total expenditures of $283,793.96. Along with that, you've been provided with a list of claims as well as the check register. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
I have a question.
Okay.
This is what I alluded to earlier. On the check register, and I'm sure we probably have passed it as a purchase order over 10,000. You can remind us of that. But on the check register, remind us what It Savvy is for $31,000.
So that's actually two separate purchases, and 29,000 of that was using CARES funds. And they are technology the webcams for the Promethean boards and things that we
Okay.
just ordered.
All right. And we did approve those underneath.
Yes,
purchase
you
orders.
did.
Okay. The other one is Skyline Cap, which I think is Head Start,
Yes, sir.
and we're paying them $23,000,
Yes, sir. That is what we are billed, and I have an itemized bill.
and that's a contract that we have services for our students attending Head Start.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I thought. The other one is Dell Marketing for $12,008.
So yes, that was division funds as well as, psych funds. They were used to buy some devices, and, it's two separate purchases. It's not one. So you all would not have seen,
Done that on the POs, but now it's being paid, but it comes up to 12,000.
yes, because it's one check. for the-
That was right. Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. Because I sort of say, I don't remember that on a PO.
No, sir. It was
Over
two
10.
separate things.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, thank you, Ms. Seeker.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we approve the claims for payment as presented by Ms. Sechrist.
Second. I have a motion from Dr. Painter, and I have a second from Mr. Lansbury.
Mr. Booth.
Yes.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes. Next item is purchase orders over 10,000. Ms. Seacrest?
Yes, board, we have 4 purchase orders for your approval this evening. The first one is for Allied Health Services. That is a purchase service used by our special education department for $12,703.84. The next one is to Generation Genius. That is a license for streaming that would be used by Title I funds for $14,352. We have another one to Dell for 18 laptops and 13 docking stations. That's using ESSER 2 funds for $23,902. And then the last PO is the HVAC for the 7 locations that you all were just discussed and talked about for Johnson Controls for $4 million using ESSER 3 funds.
What's the seventh one?
I'll see if
Is
it-
what was the seventh one?
Oh,
Is the
so it's the 4 elementary, the,
Beach Middle,
and the tech center
oh, Tech
And
Center.
Grove Hill.
and Grove Hill. Yeah, the tech center was the other one.
Ms. Sechrist, what's contracted infield service?
What was that? That is our contracted services for our psych services, since we don't have that position
Psych,
filled.
got it.
And you all had approved that contract
Thank you. I
prior to
figured it
using,
was
yes, sir.
a special service like speech or something.
And what about the 18 laptops and 13 docs? Is that from the previous thing that got sent back and now they're coming back again?
Yes, sir. Those are for the building administration principal and assistant principal laptops.
That was done and then sent back and
Correct.
now it's coming back again?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Any other questions? Okay. I have a motion to approve the purchase orders as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the purchase orders as presented.
I have a motion from Mr. Gubler. I have a second from Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we have, the next is approval for overnight field trip. Dr. Fox?
Yeah, so board, we're presenting to you tonight 2 requests for overnight field trips, and Mr. Benson is going to provide details on those requests.
Good evening, members of the board. We have received 2 overnight field trip requests, as Dr. Fox stated. This is for the FCCLA National Fall Conference in Washington, D.C. We have reviewed the number of chaperones and students in attendance, along with the conference details and agenda, and we would request your approval so that we can showcase our students' talents at this event.
Any questions? Okay, do you have a motion to approve the overnight field trips? I have a motion from Mr. Painter, and I have a second from Mr. Lansbury.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we have, next on the agenda is board members' discussion time.
As a former Proud Panther class of 95, I thoroughly enjoyed going to the field dedication last Friday night. There was a few of us there, and it was really good. I think it was good closure for the family and showing them, and it just, the whole community embraced it. That it just showed how much what the study Coleman had and the influence he had there at Page. And also, how do we go about it if we're going to look back over the public comment policy that we can actually make edits to it? Can we put on informational next time and discuss it?
Yeah, it can be an informational item.
So I asked that it's put on there for
You're talking about the regulation, or you're talking about the policy itself?
what's the difference?
The regulation that's out there, and that's what I was going to speak to about from Mr. I'm sorry.
Longenecker.
Thank you. Comment, because we do have the regulation out there that gives you the procedure and process that we approved. So I don't know if you're only seeing the policy and you're not seeing the regulation.
Well, let's just throw them both on informational next time and just take care of it both.
Okay. Yep. We can make that happen. And that addresses piece of what I had was that we do have that out there that's in regulation, that it gives you more precise information than what the general policy does. The regulation is what spells everything out and gives you procedure and process. So, any other board member have a comment? The only other one I want to address is because some people have asked me, but I was at the Friday night game at the stadium for Buddy Comer. I just wasn't down on the field. I was standing up with Mr. Kao and Mr. Runyon. I didn't make it in time to make it down to the field because of parking, because it was a busy spot that Friday night. But I was there, and it was a great ceremony and great respect paid to Mr. Comer. I personally knew him. I had him when I was in high school, so it was well deserved. Yeah.
I just have a comment. I would encourage Page County parents to consider getting their teens vaccinated. Mentioned it before, and consider getting vaccinated in general. The vaccine is free, it's effective, and we can really reduce community transmission. We're still considered a high level of community transmission as we stand now.
Mr. Payne.
Coach Simmons did a great job. Organizing each section. Present to the new guys who are coming. Even if ever threat, everybody needs to know about that, get that out. Get that thing for us. That night I read all the comments. I called it somewhere. I called it threatening. He was prepared the next day. I think these conversations are important to have. Well, in fact, not agree with what happened in our country, our country's still a great country. People want something. Kind of open the door on it. And those conversations are important. We can disagree as well. I don't think you can ask her personally, but I respect Mark and her building. That's why I'm wearing it. It's a tough conversation. And I just want to recognize a leader in our community. Outside. That's the way. Thank you for money. Forefront opportunity twice Pacific. Comes home and helps get the hospital going, helps build the Little League, right? He ends up his life serving back, watching vision. That's what's great about it. It's a golf hunter. It's a great man.
Any other board member?
Well, I'd like to say this on the COVID. I don't wear a mask. I haven't had the shot. I'm not saying I won't get it. But I know of a person that's fully vaccinated, wears a mask at their workplace, and gave it to somebody else. So that's why I don't believe in the shots.
Any other board member, any other comments?
Okay, I will. Because it was mentioned in both public comments, Toby, besides yours, there was one other public comment on here. So until we figure all that out, I'm going to read it aloud. This is from a Gloria Nichols from Lorraine, but she doesn't want her address disclosed. Lunches have improved some. However, I would like to see hot lunches. You all can still fill in with other stuff like pizza day, hot dog day. Hot lunches to me is mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, green beans, boy, that sounds good. Cheeseburgers, french fries, etc. All stuff that kiddos love and benefit from. Some kids do not get hot meals at home. Thank you, Gloria Nichols.
Thank you, Dr. Payne.
Now I'm hungry.
Any other comments from the board?
So I did visit H County Middle School. Once you get look good. Hot. Down.
Yeah, and if I may comment, last week was Farm to Table Week, and I highlighted some local produce, some sweet potatoes, some meat from a local vendor, and there was lasagna that was made from scratch, and I believe there was a meatloaf that was provided to students as well. So they are working on improving the quality and the service of our nutritional staff, and I think we need to, maybe just give them a little shout out. They've had a rough start to the year, but I do think they're trying to be responsive to the requests and what we need. And the staff in those schools are working hard to try and provide good, hot quality meals to our students. So while we may not offer a hot dish, I know they're doing hamburgers and chicken sandwiches and pizza. They're continuing to work to expand. And they're continuing to work with vendors because there is a national shortage right now in some places of food supply, so they are looking to expand variety and options to our students.
You're looking at the lunch lady at Plains Elementary yesterday. But this is important, not school board related, but we do have people here that I know it affects. Because I think that people do need to say something, because you reminded me when you talked about use of the gymnasiums and things. My husband, Tony Painter, is the recreation director for the county. His last day is October 28th. He's retiring. Yes, he's that old. But they have not posted the position. And I am fearful. And he's like feeling really guilty. And I said, it's not you, it's on them. That he's fearful that they're not going to fill the position, so it won't be rec league basketball or anything offered for the kids. So, and you reminded me too when you said you left the soccer field because that's where he's at. But encourage like your supervisors and stuff saying, where's this posting for the recreation director? Because these kids don't have much to do here anyway. And not everybody can afford to put their kids on travel ball. And I mean, it's like $35 for a whole season. So even if they do it as like a part-time, hey, who wants to do a soccer program or who wants to do basketball, they need to do something, but at this rate, there will be nothing all winter. So there.
Yeah, I think it gives the students an opportunity to participate in something that gets them out from the TV or in front of a computer, and it gets them socializing more and get physical activity. So I think that's a great need in the county.
But it's been cricket. Like, some people doesn't even know he's retiring. So, but they've known since July.
That's a shame.
I'm sure he's going to fuss at me and go, Amity's going to fuss at me tomorrow. And be like, I don't care. So.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose.
Any other comments from the board? Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
I have a motion from Dr. Painter. Do I have a second? A second from Mr. Painter.
Yes, Mr. Goodman.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're adjourned.